Okay, before I even go into this, spoilers for Chapter 13 of The Mandalorian. You've been warned. Hey everyone, Jeremy here. I got asked a very interesting question yesterday about who do I think the Jedi might be that responds to Baby Yoda or Grogu. This came from Nikki Crawford, just giving her a shout out since she's the one that got me thinking about this. Because I had responded to her, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized there are some people that I think they don't add up for the series in itself. This is all just my opinion. This is all for fun. I could be completely wrong, but I just wanted to lay out, hey, this is what I'm thinking right now for who could respond to Grogu when he goes to that temple. You're going to want to get to my last one because I have not seen anybody talk about this, and I'm not sure why it hasn't occurred to anyone, but I want to save that till the end and talk about who works and who I think doesn't. I want to talk about why certain people work better than others in this scenario. So let's get the Mac Daddy of all out of the way, Luke Skywalker. I don't think it's going to be him. I really don't. I think for a lot of reasons it won't be Luke. I think that Luke is too big of a character, that he would overshadow the show by appearing to a degree, and if that makes any sense. Because Filoni and Favreau tend to like to pull obscure characters or from lesser known places. So the idea of bringing in Luke, who has such a huge mythos tied to him, I don't feel like they would do that in The Mandalorian. Plus, if you bring in Luke, he's just going to take Grogu and go. I mean, that's end of the story. We're done. There's nothing else to do. And I do think The Mandalorian would survive if we lost Grogu, but at the same time, I don't think it would be the same show. So I don't picture them really ever completely separating the two. I mean, I could see him go to learn someplace and then Mando goes off and has an adventure, but then comes back, or, you know, something along those lines. Or heck, the Jedi they find hops on board and now there are 3 of them on the Razor Crest. Anything like that I could see, but I just don't see them completely separating. So if Luke showed up, I feel like that's the end of the story. So I feel like that would be the final episode of the series rather than of a season. A couple names that I absolutely adored hearing and had not thought of were Cal Kestis and Seer from Jedi Fallen Order. Now, I think that's a really cool idea that those would be who answered the call, since the last time we saw them, they're basically kind of, I don't even want to spoil the last time we saw them. If you haven't played Jedi Fallen Order, I don't want to spoil that. But, this is a huge but. Jedi Fallen Order is set 20 years prior to the events of The Mandalorian. We don't know how their story turns out, and I feel like Disney or / Lucasfilm would rather have their story play out in games, which would still be set in that time frame. We don't even know if they're going to live, if they're going to die, and you're going to ruin some of that suspense if you show them 20 years later. It's like, oh, well, I guess they survive everything in the next game. That I don't want to. So I think that they would rather have their story play out there first, but I won't be mad if I'm completely wrong. There's also the possibility it's just an obscure Jedi. Like, I threw out the idea of Quinlan Vos. He's one of the few Jedi that we've never seen what happened to him. And while I like this idea, and I think it's a real possibility that it would be somebody just kind of obscure, we never saw what happened to them, not one of the people we saw killed in Order 66 or even referenced in like Rebels or anything like that, then that is a possibility. Then of course there's probably the biggest possibility of all, and that's Ezra Bridger. Because last time we saw Ezra, we got Thrawn name dropped in this episode. That's not a coincidence. Ahsoka is looking for Ezra. I think that is not who it's going to be either. Ezra's not going to show up. How about that? That's where I'm going with this. Ezra is just not going to show up. Here's why. You got to remember, this is 10 years. Ezra's been missing for 10 years at this point. Ezra is either captured or dead. Because there is no way he would not find his way back to the crew of the Ghost. He would not find his way back to Hera. He would not find his way back to Sabine. There's no way. If he had access to travel, he would be with them. He obviously does not. He has to be either in hiding or captured. Captured is the more likely. The only thing I have a problem with him being captured is if Thrawn is working with Gideon, then why would they need Baby Yoda? Why would they need Grogu? Because they've already got a Jedi that they could harvest his cells, which seems to be what they're doing, is they're harvesting midichlorians. So why would they need Baby Yoda unless Ezra isn't enough? Or there's always the distinct possibility that Gideon and Thrawn are not working together. In that case, Ezra just might be rotting in his cell right now. That means he wouldn't have the ability to come to Grogu. But here's the huge but. It occurs to me, I don't like our girl doing this, but it occurs to me Ahsoka could be kind of setting them up to find Ezra for her. If Grogu reaches out in the Force, senses where Ezra is, suddenly Ahsoka's coming back into the story because they found the person she's looking for. Now, it could all be coincidence. She could have just sent them there, not realizing, oh, yeah, go to this place. Somebody will reach back if he reaches out. But what could happen is, as is the will of the Force, they could realize the only Jedi they can find is being held, go to break him out. Here comes Ahsoka, who also had found out at the same time where Ezra was being held. Will of the Force. She's back in the story. They're saving Ezra. I really like this scenario. I love this scenario. Now, I've also heard people talk about Mace and how it could be him and him show up. I can see that. I don't have a lot of passion one way or the other about Mace. It's just kind of a, yeah, it could be him. I like Mace as a character. I hate him as a person and a Jedi. I think he's everything that was wrong about the Order and why it fell. He was completely arrogant, more arrogant than even Anakin. And he done my girl dirty in the Clone Wars finale, and I don't forget that. I think it would be interesting to see Mace again. I do. I think I'm really looking forward to the day we finally do see him again, because I think we will. I don't know if I feel strongly one way or the other about it being him. Unless all the things I just said play into exactly what I'm about to talk about. Now, my last theory, and I think this is actually more likely than any of them. Why does it have to be a Jedi that reaches back? Jedi aren't the only one that uses Force. There could be bad people out there, dark Jedi or Sith, probably not Sith, but along those lines, still out there. If they feel that child reach out and feel the power he has, which we don't know exactly how powerful he is, but if they're looking for an apprentice, somebody just called. Somebody just came knocking on their door to the dark side. We're already discussing the fact that Baby Yoda, that Grogu, still getting used to that, could be pulled to the darkness. And I feel like that's the way it is with anyone in Star Wars. There's always that push-pull. I think that's just the way it is. But in this case, we've already had that kind of alluded to, not even alluded to, just stated by Ahsoka that, there's a real possibility he would be pulled to the darkness. So who's to say a Darksider wouldn't be the one to show up and want to train this kid? I think that's a real possibility. I think we could be setting up a third antagonist at this point, because we've got Gideon, we've got Thrawn name dropped, and now we would have a Dark Jedi who might just want this child for his own, to train it. And and before I even go, that the whole idea of Grogu's got to reach out. If he goes there and just decides, you know what, I don't want any of it. I don't want to reach out with the Force. I don't want to find another Jedi. I'm done. I don't want to be trained. That's it. There's our answer. Nobody's calling. Nobody's going to show up because he doesn't want them to. So yeah, they're there. I almost forgot that one. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't think any of these are definitely no's. That's kind of, what's a definite in Star Wars anymore? People come back from the dead sometimes. So anything I say here is just not written in stone by any means, but it's just fun to talk about. It's fun to talk to you guys about it. Leave your comments below on who you think it might be and why. So, anyway, well, thank you for listening. And if you liked this video, please hit like and subscribe to see more videos like this one. As always, before I go, please take care of yourselves and please take care of each other. Thanks for watching.